tell you this stuff. Hopefully it makes a lot of sense to you, because it's so obvious. Everything is so obvious. The creation story it starts off. You have to start off from the very beginning, right? Whatever is doing the creation is the only thing that's ever been. Because it has to create everything. It has to create not only itself, but it has to create the environment that it's in, or that you think it's in, or that you think it is. It has to create everything. So that's what you call nothing, right? In the ancient time, they call it nun. And nun would be like, just like the dark waters, right? No light, nothing, just darkness, just like, stillness, right? There's nothing there, or matter. You don't want to call it water, you call it matter, because people say water is two elements, right? Oxygen and hydrogen. They just say matter for that sake, or just energy. This thing that you can't define it. It's undefinable. But that thing, whatever that is God, right? Now we're using God because we're trying to bring it into terms that we can speak about it, because we can't conceive God. You understand what I'm saying? We can only conceive what we can conceive, which is the finite reality that is what we live in. We could only conceive it if we put it in a context that it makes sense. You understand what I'm saying? Like if I talk about God and I say, my father, then if you say your father, what is your father? Your father is the one that basically germinated your life in your mother, right? Your father is supposed to be your provider and your protector, right? So that's how we talk. That's how humans being express the stuff that's too big for their own understanding, right? So God, but you have to skip through like all of the programming, because God as the creator would be the only thing, the first thing. So in creating something, how do you create two things out of one thing? By dividing it. Exactly. So that's what God did. The first thing he did was divide himself, right? So the self that he divided himself into, right? The second self, the other thing that he divided himself into, that was his second self. Because here he has one self, right? He has one. Then he divides himself to create two things, because he's creating. So that's his second self. That second self is what we call Eve, or woman, right? So you have male and you have female, right? So male and female is just like positive and negative. That's all it really is. It's not about gender. It's not. I mean, that's not about. It is about gender. It's not about organs. Right? Not about breasts or penis or vagina. It's not about that. It's negative and positive. What does the male represent? The male represents the negative charge. The charge that can move from one thing, just move freely around. Right? So therefore a man is the negative charge. A woman is the positive charge. So the negative plugs into the positive. That's how it goes. The negative is that, that's the electricity. That's the electron. Right? The positive is the proton. And I'm telling you, like, all these terms are terms that not only repeat themselves throughout history, but they also repeat themselves throughout religious texts. Right? So God creates the second self. We call it Eve. And she's the mother of all living. The matter. That's what she is. Mother and matter, same thing. But we say mother now. But she's the matter of all living. Right? And then, so if you look at it, I'm kind of going backwards, because normally we go from sun, moon, Mars, Mercury, Jupiter, Venus, Saturn, right? But I'm going in the reverse order. I'm starting from Saturn and moving all the way back to the first one, to Sun. Why? Because we're doing the creation. That's what you have to do. If you're dealing with the creation, you can't start from one. You can't go all the way to one. No. You have to go to the oldest thing. What's the oldest thing?
Sun.
No, the oldest thing is not the sun. The sun is the youngest one, because that's why it's number one. That's why it starts off Sunday. What's the oldest one? Saturn. The seventh one, right? And this is why Saturn, or this is why that one is called the Most High. You know what Most High means? It's not just a name for God. The Most High means that it's the Most High. It's higher than everything else. There's nothing higher than it. So if you have 7 things and you stack them up, right? Which one would be the Most High? The 7th one, right? Okay. Making sense now? Alright, so the 7th one is called Saturn, but in the ancient world, Saturn was called El. Pay attention to Saturn now, the word Saturn, right? Because these words, even though they don't necessarily represent what the names used to always be, they carry significance because the truth you see the thing, the truth doesn't change, right? So it doesn't matter if you say it in Metu Neta, or if you say it in English, or if you say it in Spanish, or whatever you say it in, it's always going to come back to the same thing once you understand what you're looking at. So just pay attention to Saturn. There's some key things. Always look at words, what they start with and what they end with, okay? Don't forget, what does Saturn start with?
Yes.
What does it end with?
Yeah.
All right, good. Don't forget that. Because the things in between those two, a lot of those things sometimes are interchangeable, right? And I'm going to explain that as we go along. So Saturn is the Most High. They call Saturn El. E-L. That was the name they call it. E-L. Right? El, you're going to see this everywhere. This is the same word that the Jews use for God. Elohim. The Muslims say Allah. But we know that the A and the E are interchangeable. So Allah can be Ella or Elle. Right? It's the same thing. It don't matter. That's what I'm saying. No matter which language you're using, right? The truth is always going to be there. So Saturn, if we're using Saturn now, just to simplify it even more, because we're using these as placeholders for what we call God, right? Just like how you use your mother and your father as the placeholders for the same thing, right? Don't mean it's just a way so you can understand the story. So Saturn, El. From Saturn you got Venus. That's why Venus is the 6th one. It's the 2nd oldest one. You see it now? Venus is the 6th day. So if Venus is the 6th day, it's the 2nd oldest one to the 7th day. You understand? That means it would have been here before day 5, day 4, day 3, day 2, day 1, right? But it wouldn't have been here longer than day 7. Day 7 has been here for all the days already. So all of the other days now are younger than it. So Venus is the 2nd one. So Venus is the 2nd self of Saturn. Out of Venus, after Venus comes into play now, right? We can say Venus is either like the female to the male, right? Or we can say it's the yin to the yang. Or we can say it's just balance, right? It's man and woman or whatever way you want to look at it. But then out of Venus, after Venus comes, you get Jupiter. Jupiter would be the child. So now you have mother, you have father, and you have child. You see it? Because Jupiter, what do they call Jupiter? They call Jupiter the king. He's the son of Saturn, who is the king. So if you can only be a king if your father is a king. You understand what I'm saying? You can only be a heir to the throne unless your father is the king. So you have mother, you have father, mother, and child. This is the first Trinity. You understand what I'm saying? This is the first Trinity. This is the first Trinity. And not only that, it is the higher self. You understand what I'm saying? These things, these three now form the higher self. So what is the higher self? Or the higher heavens, right? You have El, you have heaven, or Eve, because Eve and heaven is the same word. Spell heaven, H-E-A-V-E-N, right? Spell El, H-E-L-L. Now here's a thing I want you to remember now, right? Whenever you see an H in front of a word, try to just take off the H, because a lot of times the H is hiding the true word. You take the word heart, for example. Heart. You take away the H and it becomes earth. You see that? You see the word hell? You take away the H and you get L, the name they have for Saturn. You take away the H from heaven and you get even. That's the name for Venus. So heaven and hell is Venus and Saturn, right? But who is Jupiter? Jupiter, Ju, right? The name for the J used to be a L. So the J became the L became a J, so it was really Lupiter, right? Next thing I want you to remember, anytime a word starts with the letter L, you can write it EL, just to remind yourself that that is actually L, the same name they use for Saturn. So Lupiter is El Lupiter, right? Because the L is just like, you have to understand that it's the sound and the symbol are the same thing. So if you're only focusing on just the spelling, you won't even pay attention to the sound. But you have to pay attention to the sound, because L, just the symbol alone is that L. It's not written like that, but that's what it is. It represents L. It represents the name that they use to Saturn for the Most High, right? So now L, Lupiter. Lupiter, in the word Lupiter, you have Peter. Peter, P-I-T-O-R or P-I-T-E-R, right? Or P-I-T-A-R or P-A-T-E-R. That word means father. So Jupiter literally means the father. So you always hear Christians talking about the father, right? You always hear, oh, the father this, the father that. The father is literally, the name for the father is Jupiter. So heaven and L, Eve and Venus and Saturn, right? Venus and Saturn created the father, created Jupiter. And there you go, that's your Trinity. Your Trinity is heaven, L, and the Father. All right, so we got a small piece of the puzzle right there, because that's the first Trinity you're looking at, right? And we call it the first Trinity because it's the first three created things, according to how the sequence goes. So then we get down to the fourth thing now. Remember now, this Trinity seals it off. It seals it off, seals itself off, right? The first Trinity, it seals itself off. So now, whatever comes afterwards, either it's gonna seal itself off or it's gonna be some kind of barrier. Remember, I say that the first Trinity, these things are the represent the higher self. Right? So if you have a higher self and God is balanced, what would you need to balance a higher self?
Lower self.
A lower self. You would need a lower self. So the lower self, right? The lower self and the higher self don't intermingle. They can't. Because it's light and darkness. Can light and darkness come together in the same place? No, they need an intermediary. There has to be a barrier. So the barrier between light and darkness, between the higher self and the lower self, is number 4. Mercury. Mercury in the scriptures is called mercy. That's what it's called, mercy. And they don't realize that's what it is, mercy. Mercy, 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 mercy. They call him for mercy, right? Because mercy is a request. But you cannot, the lower self can't communicate to the higher self, so it has to communicate through Mercury. Mercury is called the messenger of the gods. So when you wanna communicate a request, right, from your lower self to your higher self, you have to consult. You have to seek Mercury. Mercury is gonna take that message from the lower self to the higher self for you. You understand what I'm saying? So they say mercy. Everybody's saying they say mercy, but it's a spell. The devil just trying to hide the word from you. And I'm going to explain to you who the devil is in a little bit too. Because all of these terms are found within the planets. When you understand them. And you see where the whole religious structure came from. It's really the planets communicating through us. That's what it really is. Look at it. Look at that big ring. And you can see it's a ring because these are the edges. You see the two spot out there? Those are the edges of whatever is behind the sun. Right? You have to start paying attention to these things because, you know, this is how they trick you. There's something big enough where you're seeing the rims of it on both sides, but they've been spraying the sky so hard that whatever it is that we could have seen clear, we can't see it that clear. All we're seeing is just the rim of it. Right? Because why would you have the lights on both sides like that? That doesn't make any sense. Let me get back to what I was saying though. So the intermediary is Mercury, that man prays through. Man prays to calls for Mercury, right? To make his communications between higher and lower self. So the lower self now, are we going the lower self? Who rules the lower self or the lower realm? The lower realm, what do they call it? They call it the underworld. Who rules the underworld?
The devil.
The devil. Now let's see what comes after Mercury. Let's see if we find a devil. Who's number 3?
It's Earth.
No. Mars.
Yeah.
And who's Mars?
God of War.
Mars is the red devil. So you see, it makes sense. He rules the underworld. And who's in the underworld with him? The moon. Who is the moon? The moon is man. Right? You have moon and you have woman. Who's the woman? The woman. And then look at it. And who else is down there with him? The sun. Right? So the red devil is basically in the underworld. He's pursuing something though. What is he pursuing? He's pursuing the woman and her son. He's pursuing the woman and her son. Do you get it? The devil, the red devil, that's the same thing in Revelation. It talks about the red devil pursuing the woman and her child. Who is her child? What kind of child was she going to have? She was going to have a man child. What is a man child called? Is it called a daughter?
No, it's called a son.
It's called a son. That son. See it? The moon and her son. The woman and her son. That's who the red devil is pursuing. That's what the whole thing is laying out to you. So you have a lower self which consists of the sun, the moon, and Mars. And you have a higher self which consists of Saturn, Venus, and Jupiter. And you have an intermediary between these two selves, right, called Mercury, which is the messenger between them. It takes the messages from both of them, and it's called a messenger of the gods, because all of them are called gods, right? That's why we call them days. It's not D-A-Y-S, it's D-E-I-S. Gods, the messenger of the gods. So when the ancient people was codifying this and putting it together, it wasn't mythology. They were explaining to you how the system works, right? Now when you look deep into it, it's not simplistic either, because we know what heaven and hell is, right? Heaven is Eve, heaven is Venus, and hell is Saturn, right? We know who the Father is. We also know who the Son is. So when they say the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, we know who the Father is. The Father is Jupiter. That's what the name says. Jupiter, the Father. We know who the Son is because we call it the Son. And the Holy Spirit, now listen to the word holy, H-O-L-Y. Holy in Greek was Helios. Remember, what did I tell you when you see a H? And what do you see now? Elios. E-L-I-O-S. You see the E-L? What does L stand for? L stands for Saturn. So Saturn is the Father. Saturn is also the Son, but people don't realize that Saturn is the Son. You understand? Because they only used to saying Son, they're not used to saying Helios. But when you say Helios, right? Helios You take away the H, you get L again. Helios. L. That's what we call the sun. We call it Helios. Right? And then spirit, spira, or spiral, right, is rings. So the Holy Spirit is the holy rings. And who has the rings? Saturn. So that's why you can say God is the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. It's the same thing. Because Lupiter, right? The name that they used to that became Jupiter, the L in front of it is telling you that it's L again. L, Upiter. You understand? But they changed the L to J to throw you off. So you think that it's different things, but you have to remember all of the stuff that was created, including Venus, all the stuff. Where did they come from? What were they created from? The first thing that was there, which was what?
Saturn.
Which was Saturn. So everything is Saturn. All of them thought the whole thing is Saturn anyway, because that's what they're created from. All of us are Saturn. You understand what I'm saying? Because that's what you're created from. You can't be anything else. So people get lost looking at the separation instead of looking at the unity. It's the unity you need to look at. And when you look at the unity, then you realize that you are the Almighty. You already have all the power to turn your life into anything you want to turn it into. The fears and the stuff that we live under are irrational or conditioned or programmed. So when you free yourself, because you need to just see who you are. And that's the thing. Once you can see yourself, right? You can see if you have dirt on your face or you need to clean something, right? You can't see yourself. You can't see what you need to change. And you can't see yourself until you can see yourself as God. And that's the real reality right there.